That'd probably be
I'd like to live the rest of my life on 2 million cash right now.
Straight
I'd be
cash.
totally happy.
Yeah, 'cause I'm delayed, so I'm gonna kick McNeil out if he fucking pulls this shit.
Tony B420 Pod. Welcome, guys. How are you?
That's with the 420 guys. They're just like. Did you watch any of this, Dave?
I got the wrap up from our Australian hated.
Okay, it's
version.
literally like if, like the beginning of time when humans started forming. If somehow podcast equipment landed and two people spoke in the microphone, so those two guys sound like they just can't speak. Like they're nice guys. I think they're nice guys, right?
Yes, yeah.
I think they were in Mississippi.
Chris and Pat. Yeah, I saw them at breakfast that day. Yeah.
Yeah, they're good guys, but they can't speak.
Hello and welcome to the 420 Show. I am your host, Christian Methuen. We have Pat from Amesbury, and we are joined by a KMS alumnus, so to speak, who's been in studio. We have Dylan the Birdman. Welcome to the show.
How's it going?
Not bad. As you know, this is our first episode for the KMS YouTube network, so we're hoping to be a little different with this show than we are with our normal Saturday night extravaganza. We want to have a little more conversation, a little more structure to the conversation. And we both, Pat and I, when we figured out we were going to do this, believe it or not, the first person I thought of was you to come on because your appearance on KMS was recent. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, you mentioned somewhere within the show that you enjoy marijuana.
Yeah, I do. I've enjoyed it for pretty much half of my life now, and it's not a big thing. You know, my life doesn't revolve around it, but I mean, it's just something I've always stuck with, and let's take the edge off and makes that life a little more tolerable most of the time.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So you use it more recreationally than medically?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't have any medical use for it at all.
Sure.
Personally. Yeah.
Because I would assume if you're going out and just chilling in nature, that's probably the best thing to do, especially when you're trying to focus on those birds and their calls and their noises and all that stuff. That probably helps you focus.
Oh yeah, it just makes the experience so much better.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but I don't do it a lot when I'm out. Like I think I said on Kirk's show, it's like usually like halfway through the day. If it's like a big day I'm doing or something, or I'm really birding, it's just kind of later on in the day, almost like lunchtime. It's like, all right, I need something to take the edge off here, and it just works out perfect.
Take the edge off of bird watching.
Yeah, well, especially if I'm doing like a big day or something, and I'm actually like really actively trying to do something, and it's work almost, you know. And
right.
So it's like so when I can take a minute and take a few puffs, it's great.
So how do you normally use your flower? Do you vape it? Do you just use a bowl, papers?
Yeah, just a glass pipe. I got like a like a miniature steamroller, and it's like perfect.
Nice.
Wicked easy to clean. Just a couple nuggets. Just enough for a couple hits, and wham bam, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, I haven't used one of those in a long time. If I ever use flower, unless it's like a pre-roll, I'll use a vape called a PAX.
Yeah.
And you can really get the flavor out of the flower when using it that way. And plus, you get more uses out of the flower because you're not combusting it. So, it's definitely changed your life right there.
I used to use one of those like the plug-in vapes that had like the wooden box. It had like the tube and everything with it.
That wooden box, that thing is the biggest piece of garbage.
Shit, yeah,
I tried that like 13 years ago. That was like
Yeah.
the first vape I ever tried. And it was like the thing you stick the battery in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the flight magic flight box or whatever. I think Kris has one.
Yeah, I think so.
Like yeah, I got one of those.
I have a bunch of different
2010,
things.
and I don't know. It just seemed like a big waste. The battery never seemed to work right, and I was like, there's got to be a better way to do this. And then 2 years later is when I got introduced to the packs, and that was definitely a better way to consume at that time. That I've moved on to the dabs right now.
Yep.
So,
Yeah. I tend to stay away from those. Those get me like way too high.
Yeah, that'll put you underwater.
Yeah, well, I mean that's the thing. It's like I love to smoke, but I hate being like too high. Like,
Yeah.
My anxiety goes through the roof, and then I'm all set.
Understood.
I actually just got, and I showed it last week on our show, but I'll show it again. A really cool lighter / bowl built in one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'll show it on the screen in a second once I open it. So it comes in a box like this.
Mm-hmm.
Let me put it in front of the camera. But then it flips open, and you put the weed right in here.
Yep.
But then,
oh, no shit.
It lights itself.
That's sweet. That'd be perfect. I gotta get one of those.
My only complaint or whatever about that is it burns the weed really fast.
Yeah.
It's right there, and it's a butane lighter, so it's
So it's really like
you're not going to
really
slowly smoke that way. You take a few hits, and that's it.
You're getting like one hit at a time.
Is there any way to adjust that heat or?
No, there's not like a flame.
Oh,
control.
really? Oh, that sucks. Maybe
How is it to clean?
Oh, it's super easy to clean.
Really?
It comes with a couple replacement screens, and it's the only thing I have right now that has a screen in it at all.
Yeah.
I haven't used screens since late 90s.
The old types.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a little awkward because of its shape, but you tap it out like a regular bowl, it comes right out, or you can pull the screen out and just tap that screen off. You're good to go. It hasn't built up a bunch of it's all metal, so it's going to clean off easy with alcohol.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I just wondered with the moving parts there if that was going to make it a pain in the ass.
You'd think so.
I collect some of the strangest stuff. I can't find it right now, but shit. Oh, I do have it right here. The Nautilus, this guy, and it's like a flower vapor type of thing.
A little more sophisticated with the corn cob.
It looks sophisticated. You're not, but you look sophisticated.
Yeah.
So Dylan, I started smoking weed very, very young by accident, and I've told the story a bunch of times. But I was going to ask you, how early on in life did you start? Was it something that you just picked up one time, or did you wait till later on, like late teens, 20s?
So my friends all did it. Like this group of friends, I kind of fell into, and so I was probably like 15, I think, and it was like pretty much a peer pressure thing. Like I was super like. I was just thinking about it the other day, laughing at myself of how like anti-weed I was, and I was like, "Oh, I'm not doing drugs, guys. Like, I'm not falling in with the wrong crowd." And then, like, fast forward like 2 years later, and I'm smoking more than all of them. But no, yeah. So it's probably since I was about 15, 16, I started. So it's been and I haven't stopped since. So I know a lot of people that have quit. I just never really found the reason to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Me personally, when I was very young, me and my older brother found some of my parents' roaches, thought they were cigarettes, thought we were cool smoking cigarettes instead of trying to smoke them. My mom caught us and freaked out. But then when I was about 14, again, my older brother got me to try it again, but this time knowing what it was, and I just fell in love. It's been my drug of choice since. It's kept me away from other drugs, like the gateway drug.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way it's been for me too. I mean, I have done other stuff, but tried other stuff, but like never stuck with anything, and it was never because I smoked weed at all. So they were years apart. So
I started like about the same age as you when I was 15, and it was actually in the hallways of my high school. That was the first time I hit weed. We had like a brass pen cap, and we stuffed one end with the weed, and the other end basically we just held it to our mouths and lit it up. And I obviously didn't get high the first time because you never really do anyway. But but it was kind of funny just running around the hall and then stopping, going around a corner and just trying to light something and taking a little hit.
We should do an episode on best homemade pipe fucking makes.
Yeah, I made I remember years ago when I was still in high school, I went to like Home Depot and just bought a bunch of like brass pipe fittings.
I did that too.
It was like a total joke, and my mom found it, made a huge deal out of it, and then literally like 2 months later, she's like, I smoked with her for the first time. It was like, why did you make such a fucking big deal out of it? But it was stupid. Like I was embarrassed. Like it's not really a pipe, Mom. Like it's really just a joke. But
I remember my favorite homemade one was a little Tylenol bottle, a Bic pen, and some tin foil. So you take the pen apart and you use just the plastic housing of it. You put a hole, burn a hole, melt the plastic on the Tylenol bottle, put the pen into it so that's your pipe.
Yeah.
Take the top off, use the tin foil as your screen and bowl all in one, put your weed in and go to town.
That's awesome.
We also used to use like an apple.
Yeah, I didn't. I learned the Apple trick when I was doing the white van speaker gimmick, which I've explained on our other show a couple of times. But that was the first time I was introduced in that, and that blew my mind. How you could use a fucking apple of all things to get baked with.
Yeah, I smoked out of a potato once.
Potato's a good one.
Yeah, it's perfect.
I've never done a potato.
Don't try a banana; it's a mess.
Yeah, it's a little mushy, I think.
Yeah.
So you were saying earlier how you first time you smoke, you never really get high. Do you think that's because just when you're at that age, you can never find good weed? It's always just like shit weed.
It's a combination of probably shit weed,
not knowing how to inhale.
Not knowing that you're supposed to inhale, and probably the anxiety of getting caught because at that age, you're not supposed to be doing that, and you're either in the woods somewhere thinking that the cops are going to come, or you're in the backyard hoping that your parents aren't coming home. All that fun stuff. It's because the first time I got really high was when me and my buddy were just kind of just chilling. We were in a parking lot, just relaxing, listening to some techno. This is how old it was. It was like over 20 something years ago. And it just hit me. And I was just like, holy fuck. Like, this is fucking wild. And I enjoyed it very much.
I've never gone back.
Yeah, exactly.
So I have another question for you, Dylan.
Sure.
How high were you when you went into KMS?
Oh, not at all. I laughed.
Not at all.
No, I laughed at that because, like, literally, I said on the show too. I'm like, if I had smoked, I told him I would have passed out. I would have had a panic attack and had a heart attack. I mean, I was so nervous waiting to go in. So like I said, smoking does give me anxiety. Like if I'm in not a comfortable situation, I don't want.
That's not going to help. It's not going to relax you.
Fuck no. And I was like I said, I was so nervous going into it. And so when he said that, I'm like, dude, you don't understand. Like that was not even on my radar before coming in here. Not even close. But it is funny how he said that. Like he's like, oh, like the other day, a few episodes ago, he mentioned how it's like, yeah, he probably rolled in here higher than a kite or whatever he said. And it's like,
I mean, that's how he's going to treat us if we ever do make it in. We're planning on trying to get in. What did they say in early August?
Yeah, we'll see. Well, that's tentative. Hopefully, we'll be able to get in there. And I mean,
it's a great spot if it works out.
It would be on brand for us to be high as we're in there. I mean, we're obviously not going to stink up the studio or any of that shit because he doesn't like the smells. We're not going to wear cologne or anything like that, but. Right. I'll definitely have partaken on the way up there and maybe shoot on
either a vape pen or a dab or something.
Yeah. Well, that should be interesting. I couldn't do it, but I'm sure he'll get a kick out of that.
That's the only way I'll be comfortable, to be honest. Like if I'm not, it's just gonna be, it's not gonna be good.
I mean, if I didn't, I would come off a lot like that guy Mark that was on the past episode with Julie. Just too energy, too keyed up.
Right. Yeah, he was. That's what I said too. He was like a little too on, but otherwise, I thought he was good. He seemed comfortable there and stuff. So, I mean, I think
they kept calling him Mike though.
Did they really?
I'd have to go back and listen to double check, but I could swear they called him Mike a couple times.
Yeah, like there was. I mean, Montante, when I was on his show, he asked me like if I was nervous at all going into it, like at the show, and I'm like, you couldn't tell, like I was freaking out. But I guess I handled it all right.
No, I thought your episode was good.
Yeah, no, that was good.
When they talk like Barstool stuff and like 98.5 stuff, I have like nothing to throw in there because I consume nothing of Barstool except for KMS. So
I get you.
Yeah, it's hard to get a word in edgewise when you don't know what you're talking about.
I was more into Barstool when I was younger. Obviously, I'm 40 now.
Right.
I mean, Barstool's been around for so long now that in my mid to late 20s, I was way more into it than
yeah, absolutely. I think that's who it's marketed towards, anyways, like college age kids.
Yeah,
right.
You know, I used to consume it a lot back then, but now it's for kids, really.
It's depressing when you get aged out of things.
Right.
We're now old enough where we're getting aged out of shit.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fucking brutal.
Yeah, definitely.
So, do you have any like funny stories about getting high, or like maybe if you went out birding and got baked? Did you ever come across anything?
Actually, there was one time. Somehow I got in possession of a 100 milligram edible. It was like a nerd's rope, and I've never really messed with edibles, but I figured I'm like, oh, I've been smoking forever. I can handle this. So, luckily, I was working by myself, driving around mowing lawns, and at my lunch break, I ate the whole thing, and it was. It was like half an hour later or whatever. I was like, holy shit. And that was like at lunchtime. I ended up working till like 7 o'clock because I didn't want to run into anybody I knew. I was like freaking out so bad. I was like panicking that a customer was going to come out and ask me a question. I was like, I won't be able to handle that. I'd probably just run away.
Yeah, so, you worry about rambling or something like that because you're fucked up. You don't know.
But I mean, I was like it felt like I was drunk. I was gone. But
the edibles is way different.
Yeah, I was like, I shouldn't be driving a vehicle. I shouldn't be mowing a lawn. I shouldn't be interacting with the world right now. It was so bad. But like I said, I just worked forever because I was like paranoid of coming back to my shop and, running into some coworkers or God forbid my boss or something.
Oh, so yeah.
That's pretty much the origin of why I don't touch edibles. There was another time I went on a whale watch to try to go see birds in the ocean off the coast, and I just ate half of a 75. Or no, I did it twice. First time I ate a whole 75, which was a huge mistake. And then the second time I ate a half of 75, and it still was bad. So I think that was the moment I'm like, I'm done with this. This isn't for me.
I mean, most people when they start, they want to start down around 10, 20 milligrams.
Yeah, well, I take like a 20. If I eat a 25, though, it does like nothing. I don't know where that line is. It's like as soon as I get to like 50, it's too much, but I don't know.
50 is a sweet spot for me, but I've built up somewhat of a tolerance. If I had no tolerance whatsoever and I ate 100 milligrams, I'd be catatonic. So I don't know how you were able to work it seemed like another 7 hours.
Yeah, I just didn't
after taking that.
No, it was terrible.
I
didn't know what
went home.
do. Yeah, I should have just taken all the equipment at home with me and everything. I don't know, but that was pretty crazy.
Most weed stories always involve edibles. I've come to find out.
The scary ones.
Yeah. The scary ones are the ones that really get you going. It's usually the edibles. I find it hard to believe that something like just a regular joint will make someone go crazy. But eating a brownie that might be a little bit higher up in the milligrams, I've been there, so I can totally agree with that.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've had like times where me and like one buddy have smoked like a blunt, just between two of us, and then been like, holy shit, like I'm pretty fucking high. Like,
oh yeah, I've had that happen to me at a Birdman show.
Yeah.
So I've been there.
Yeah.
But if I ate like a 200 milligram edible at a Pearl Jam show, I'd probably be tripping balls and have to fucking be taken out on a stretcher.
I've never been to the point smoking where I couldn't drive.
Yeah.
But I've been to the point on edibles where I won't let myself anywhere near a car.
Absolutely. Like I shouldn't have been driving anything. I felt like I was like in outer space. It was fucked. That's why, I just don't screw around with edibles anymore.
Well, that's a damn shame.
That 100 milligrams, that's the highest you've ever probably done.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But like, have you guys ever listened to like Joey Diaz when he's on?
Oh, yeah.
the stuff he says he eats is like unbelievable.
Well, his tolerance is through the roof.
Yeah, I mean he's like 500 pounds, but still,
he's a big boy too.
Yeah, but
I used to listen to him when he was on Opie, and he used to go on Opie and Anthony, and I learned about all of his weed and gummy, and then I followed him on Twitter, so I see all that stuff that he posts. He's wild.
Yeah, I've only heard him on Rogan. I think he's great, but his stories about like how much he can eat, like milligrams wise, it's just out of this world. I'd be dead. I'd have to 500 milligrams. Forget about it.
I've done 500 milligrams. I won't do it again.
I bet.
The highest that I did was 300. I ate a whole candy bar on a Friday night, and the whole Saturday. The next day, I was useless.
Oh, I can't imagine.
So me and my girlfriend, we make homemade edibles, as for fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll do an infusion and she'll make it into something that's actually good. We're gonna do a cheesecake for an upcoming cookout. Not a cheesecake. I'm sorry. A strawberry shortcake.
Yeah.
For an upcoming family barbecue that I'm having.
Yeah.
Which is odd to say, but that's where we are. It's 2023. My whole family smokes and does edibles, so we're good.
Right.
And very few people drink, which is very weird, but good. Yeah. Less police interaction that way.
Yeah, definitely.
But when you make homemade stuff and you're trying to figure out what the potency actually is, and then you're also the taste tester / potency tester, you tend to run the risk of taking too much.
Yeah.
And I've done that. I did it on a YouTube show with Pat, and I had to leave the stream. But I had my camera on for hours and hours.
Oh, man. Yeah, I can totally believe that.
Lots of fun stuff. Speaking of that, my girlfriend told me today or yesterday that she bought a new Levo, the new infusing machine. So now I'll have an extra one, but I have a brand new one coming.
What does that do?
That's interesting. The next model up from what I've been using, so we'll be experimenting with some more different recipes and whatnot in the very near future.
So what does that thing do?
So it's a standard. It looks like a coffee maker almost. Mm-hmm. And what it does is you put, whether it's flour or I use like a hash rosin or wax, and you would use that to infuse either butter or coconut oil. I really like using vegetable glycerin because it doesn't do much to the taste of what you're actually going to cook with it. Mm-hmm. And so then when you're making your whatever it is, cookies, brownies, gummies, whatever, you just add some of this vegetable glycerin to it, and then you go from there and you have your edible. So it's going to help the weed chemicals binds to the glycerin, and then you use another ingredient called lecithin. Mm-hmm. And it actually will help the weed, help the THC stick to the fats in whatever it is you're infusing, whether it's butter, oil, or like I say, the glycerin. And then also once the edible gets into your body, that same lecithin that's in it will help it bind to your receptors, your CB1 and CB2 receptors.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, it's interesting. I remember years ago we tried to cook with weed, but I've never been able to make the butter right and everything, and it always came out like shit.
A lot of one mistake a lot of people make is there's something called decarboxylation that you have to do. So before you cook with weed or before you try to put it into the butter, you have to decarboxylate it, meaning you have to cook it. So if you took a nug right now and ate it, it's not going to get you high.
Right.
It's not going to do anything to you. It needs to be activated. And you can do that over about a 30-minute period at about 275 degrees in your regular oven. Your house will stink. Or I have a little odorless one that you plug into the wall. It runs on electricity. You could put about a half an ounce to an ounce of weed into it and decarboxylate it that way. Give it, like I say, about a half an hour. You want to be around 275 degrees. And then you're good to go. You can then, with the level machine that I have and the one that I'm getting will work much the same. You would then take that weed, put it into, they have a little cup that comes with it, or you could just dump it in and use a different filter for it. But we'll go with the directions on it. So you put it in a little cup, you put it inside the reservoir, then you add, if it's butter, then you would melt the butter and you pour the liquid in. Or if it's coconut oil, you put that in. Close the lid, set it right on the front of the screen, and it's going to probably take 2 hours or so. It'll do a countdown for you, but it gets the temperature right and everything. It mixes all the ingredients together nice and gently so that after the time is up, you just push a button on the front and it'll feed out much like a coffee maker, but you have to put something underneath it to catch it, obviously. And then if it's sticks of butter, which I do a lot, I have molds that you would pour them into. Or if it's coconut oil or glycerin, you just put it in the bottle and store it wherever you need to store it. Cool, dark place is the way to go.
Right.
And then when you're ready to cook, you just take out as much as you need.
Yeah. Sounds easy enough.
Yeah, Kris, actually his girlfriend, she's made some edibles that have made some guys who have even the highest tolerance, get into the fetal position and cry because it was such a intense reaction.
Getting the potency right is tough.
I bet. I don't know the first thing about it.
You would only get the potency if you were able to get your stuff that you have tested. So if you're able to bring, the oil that you made, tested, they could say, all right, well, this is the percentage of THC that's, in this. But so after that, then you can have more of a approximate, guess. Other than that, it's just, I guess it's this.
Yeah, well, if you know what you're putting in, so say you put an ounce of weed to a pound of butter, right? An ounce of weed is 28 grams. So in theory, that's 28,000 milligrams. You got to figure you're not going to have a perfect 1-to-1 ratio because things can go always wrong. So if you just give yourself the little leeway, plus minus of, say, 25%. So say you're getting 75% of that, 28,000 milligrams. Whatever that, I can't do the math in my head right now, but whatever 28,000 milligrams, a third off of it is you have in there. I think it's somewhere around 20,000 or 19 and some change milligrams. That's into the pound of butter. So then if you have 4 sticks, you cut that 19 by 4, and that should be what's in the butter. And then if you use a stick of butter to make 12 muffins, each muffin would have, in theory, an equal amount of that, depending on how well you did your infusion and how well it's spread out over the entire butter. So then you could say, well, I think this is roughly 100 milligrams. And then someone's going to go, I've had this happen to me. Someone with ice cream, their name can be shielded for their protection.
He might have been a member of the original show from the beginning, but we haven't seen him in a little bit.
So we made ice cream, and I thought it was somewhere around 100 milligrams to 150 milligrams per cup. I said that to this guy. He has experience, has a decent tolerance. Said, ate the whole thing, started the drive home, and it was like a hour something drive from where we were to where he was going. The next day I get a message from him, "You motherfucker, you almost killed me. I was stuck in a Wendy's drive-through."
Because I had maybe a little less than half of a cup of it. I didn't eat that much of it because there was a lot of sugar in it, so it was very sweet. But just a couple of spoonfuls, and I was like, "Holy shit!" So, and that guy housed the whole fucking cup of what Kris gave him.
The biggest fan of that was Buddy from Kirkenoff. He loved that ice cream.
He loves edibles. He's a sweet boy.
I think he's taken a big step back since the baby was born, but yeah.
We're gonna have to encourage him more to come back into the fold.
He's tough to get on. He's a dad now. He's a dad.
Yeah, exactly. That changes everything. You guys ever dabble in shrooms at all?
Yeah.
I haven't in a long time. It's been over 20 years since the last time, but I might get back into it recently.
I haven't in a few years now. We used to get these just chocolates with them all the time.
Yeah.
So my girlfriend and I would pop a few of those. Like, we used to do it like a few times a week. It never got us like super, super tripped out. But there was one night, the last time I did it, I had a terrible, terrible trip. And I was just like, I'm all set.
I'm all set.
Yeah. It's like one by one, I have bad experiences with things. I'm like, oh, I guess I'll move on.
When I was doing it, it wasn't as sophisticated as it is now, where you can actually buy like the candy bars and stuff with it in it.
The candy bars are great. The shroomies.
Yeah. You'd buy the shrooms, and then I'd buy like a bag of M&Ms or something to eat with it to kind of mellow out the disgusting taste.
Oh,
of
they're
it.
so disgusting. That's
It's so gross. So that's why I was like, fuck it, I don't want to do this anymore because it's disgusting. It tastes like shit.
We would do like a cheese pizza and put the mushrooms under the cheese.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
but it would be a small cheese, right? So a small cheese pizza, 2 guys, you think you're going to just destroy it. So you just have to mind over matter it and just eat.
Power through.
Yeah, I wish they had them in like pills. That'd be great.
I think they do now.
What's that?
I'm pretty sure they do now.
Oh yeah, like I'd be way more open to that. And then when you have a bad trip, it's just like the worst. But when you have a good trip,
mushroom tea is a good way to go too.
Yeah, that might be better.
All right, yeah, you can do that now. Do you ever do salvia, or have you heard of that?
I tried it in college a few times, and it didn't do anything for me.
Really?
Yeah, nothing.
Dude, that legal shit that you were able to go buy at a fucking store.
You can't now, right?
No, they got smartened up to that real quick. Yeah. But the first time I hit that, my buddy was like, "Here, number one, you have to hit it from a bong, hold it in as long as you can, and then don't worry, we're here." So I took a massive rip. I held it because it's not harsh at all, so I was able to just hold it as long as I could hold my breath. Mm-hmm. But the minute that I exhaled, it was like instant, like space camp, like gone. Like I can't stress enough that, I've done some shit in my day, but that's the only time that I've ever been like, I'm not in control of what the fuck's going on right now.
Yeah, I had a friend that did it, and like same thing. Like he went to Mars. Like I've never.
It's wild, dude.
Yeah, and like literally, and I only hit it at a pipe, so maybe that's what I was doing wrong or something. But
yeah, maybe you needed a bong.
Yeah, I needed to get more of it. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it didn't do anything. So I was like, oh, I don't see what the hot fuss is. But yeah, I've had a few friends that have had some wild times on it.
Just and then when you come to, I mean, you think that's all this other shit, but then when you come to, it's friggin'. And Kris was having some issues too.
My computer died.
I was like, for a second, I was like, what is
everything just shut off? I was like, what the fuck?
I know. I was wondering why you were still looking off to the.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what's going on over there?
So we were just discussing our salvia experiences and how it wasn't a very good experience.
No, I mean 2 different, like not a good experience at 2 different levels too.
No.
Terrible for you and nothing for me.
Absolutely. No. You got anything else, Kris?
I was just gonna say real quick. I remember growing up that you would see in High Times where that was the only place you could buy like the synthetic weed, and then it became huge and it was all bunk.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't have anything else for this particular show. Although I'll want to babble more in a little while. If anyone's watching this, I think it's gonna come out it should come out July 1st. And then once you're done watching this on July 1st, flip over to our YouTube channel and you'll be able to catch us live at that point, making a mockery of all YouTuberies by just babbling on and being unwatchable.
Yay.
Yeah, man. Well, thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for being our first inaugural guest.
Yeah. Well,
if you ever want to join the other YouTube show, feel free. Come on and act foolish with us. We'll be more than happy to let you on.
Yeah, you can meet our buddy Tony.
Yeah,
he's wild.
Yeah, Tony was supposed to be here. He didn't know he was supposed to be here in his defense, but he was supposed to. We'll get him on the next episode, which I believe will be 2 weeks after. Whenever this airs, 2 weeks after that will be our second show.
But we also need a guest, so DMs are open if anyone wants to be the next guest.
And hopefully by that next show, we'll not only have a guest, but we will have completed our mission of making an open and a close for the show, which we don't have. So when we end now, I'm going to play our close from the other show, because why not? Once I can find where my mouse went. There it is. All right. So that being said, thank you again for coming on, Birdman.
Yeah.
And Pat, I'll see you later on the other show. And where's my outro? There it is. All right. Thanks a lot. See you next time.
See ya.
Oh, yeah.
Do down, but that's fine with me. Chaos all around me, but I finally see nothing's going my way, I'm just gonna get high. I said nothing's going my way, I'm just gonna get high. Drop top, yeah, baby. But my pocket's been looking tight lately. I've been looking for somebody come to save me. It's not my fault that you've been making me go crazy. Nothing's going my way, I'm just gonna get high. I said nothing's going my way, I'm just gonna get high. Nothing's going my way, I'm just gonna get high. I said nothing's going my way, I'm just gonna get high. I'm soaring with the clouds, I'm in my zone. I hear you talking loud, leave me alone. You had it all, you gave it back. You had my heart, girl, that's a fact. You got it wrong, you never asked. I'm getting stoned, what's wrong with that? Nothing's going my way, I'm just gonna get high. I said
What are those clips
my
right
way,
now?
I'm
Kris
just
Smith
gonna
doing.
get
Damn,
high.
Kris Smith doing.
Nothing's going my way, I'm just gonna get high.
Fucking dumb
You
Canuck.
finally notice me. You make it so hard to breathe. Yeah, hard to breathe, but I smoke. Sky's falling down, but that's fine with me. Chaos all around me, but I finally see nothing's going my way, I'm just gonna get high. I said nothing's going my way, I'm just gonna get high. Drop top, yo, baby. But my pocket's been looking tight lately. I've been looking for somebody come to save me. It's not my fault that you've been making me go crazy. Nothing's going my way, I'm just gonna get high. I said nothing's going my way, I'm just gonna get high. Nothing's going my way, I'm just gonna get high. I said nothing's going my way, I'm just gonna get high.